Welcome to another edition of Freedom Friday. I'm your host, Dr. E. We're back in the saddle again. I am so glad that you have joined me this morning on this platform. And so we are so excited about what God's doing in the midst of all of us. There we go. All right. One of my devices was not queued up. There we go. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Freedom Friday. I'm your host, Dr. E. I am here this morning on this platform to help us grow. Today, we're talking about, are you growing? So before we get started, I need for you to like, share, and tag someone in this video. Let them know that we are live for another edition of Freedom Friday. We're going to be using this morning the book Celebration of Discipline. We're going to be using this book the whole month of, right here, there we go. We're going to be using this book the whole month of April. Celebration of Easter. No, sorry, Easter. The celebration of discipline for your path to spiritual growth. We just get off of Easter. My mind is still stuck in Easter. So celebration of discipline is what we're going to be doing this morning. And my thing keeps jumping. So we're trying to get back here. Hide. There we go. Okay. So we're going to dive into this morning, this topic. Are you growing? Are you growing? Growth is one of those processes that we get over time. It's amazing to me that it takes not. Good morning, Bishop Pugh. Good morning. It's amazing how it takes us 9 months, more between 8 and 9 months to develop in our mother's womb. While we're in her womb, we're developing our organs, our eyes, our ability to move, because we're moving inside the womb. So we're developing in our mother's womb. But it's amazing that whenever we're birthed, we still don't have the ability to function by ourselves. We still need someone to feed us. We still need someone to change us. We still need someone to put us to sleep. We still need the assistance of our parents, even when we come into the world. Any child that comes in the world starts walking, I question, is this really a child? So we go through these processes of growth and development over time. But what happens as we begin to mature and matriculate from elementary school to middle school to high school, there should be areas in your life that you're no longer functioning as a child. You should be growing and development. In my field of mental health, when you don't reach those milestones as it relates to growth, you're tested, and we start to determine, is there some developmental delay or developmental disabilities that are not allowing you to function at the milestones in which you should be growing? And what we find that in my field of mental health, no matter if you have been diagnosed with a developmental disability, you're still growing. Your body still functions as if you're a 20-year-old, and your mind may be only on a 3-year-old. You see, growth never stops. Your body still develops. The problem with a lot of us is we stop developing our mind. Growth stops in our mind, and we never get to a place of full maturity. So whenever someone says something to us out of the way, we pop off, because we never learn how to distinguish, how to decipher. Am I talking to a fool? Am I talking to somebody who's not stable? Or do I just need to walk away from this conversation? Sometimes the maturity and growth in your mind tells you, I'm talking to someone who's not fully developed. So I didn't need to just walk away from this, because I realized if I stay in this where I'm at, this is not going to turn out the way it needs to turn out. So you got to determine, is growth one of your areas that you need to really look at? But I've learned in my 50 years of life, headed to the road to 51, growth is something that we do not teach about. You don't hear us talking about a lot of growth in messages. We teach people how to live, how to disciple. But do we ever teach people how to live a disciplined life? You see, discipline takes a lot of work. That means you got to give up some things. You got to telling yourself, do I need this? Is this something that I really need? You see, I've learned this year I went on a 40-day financial fast. I know everybody was doing Daniel fast and 4-day fast. But for me, I wanted to be more disciplined in my finances. So I said to myself, food was not an issue for me. So why give up something that I know is really not going to affect me? So what I did, I disciplined myself not to buy anything outside of my regular necessities. And I found out during those 40 days of fasting financially, I really didn't need the stuff I was buying. You see, for me during the pandemic, I was buying all kinds of stuff during the pandemic. I asked myself, where was I going to wear this stuff to? We were on house arrest. I was going nowhere. But I learned that I could discipline myself and not buy things I did not need. So do you feel like you have hit a brick wall? I know some of you probably say, well, I feel like that sometimes. But sometimes I feel like I'm just stuck. You know, you get stuck sometimes. You know, you don't know where to go. You don't know what direction to go in. Especially when you're asking God for a strategy. You're asking God to give you a growth mindset. When you're asking God to discipline you in your decision making. You're asking God to discipline you in the circle of people you should be associated with. You see, sometimes it's not discernment that you need. You need discipline. Sometimes you have the wrong people around you. If you associate yourself with people who are not growing, who don't have the same like-mindedness as you, you're going to find yourself the smartest one in the group. And nobody wants to be the smartest one in the group. I need people in my life that's going to hold me accountable, that's going to tell me when I'm wrong, but yet in the same direction, that's going to pray for me to help me get to a place where I can be more disciplined. Sometimes it's not about discernment. It's about discipline. So if you feel yourself against a brick wall, ask yourself, do I lack purpose and meaning? Feeling a sense of emptiness and purposeless or lack of meaning in life can be a sign that one is not experiencing spiritual growth. You may question the purpose of your actions and existence. Do you lack purpose? That's number one. Number two, is there inner turmoil or discontent going on in the inside of you? You see, growth starts on the inside. It amazes me how we can call people out by what we see, but we're not judging the character of a person by what is on the inward person of them. You see, what you are or who you are, you begin to speak it out. You'll spew it out. So if you're a toxic person, you're going to have toxic conversation. And you're going to always find yourself in the midst of always drama. I'm a drama-free person. I don't like drama, and I don't like toxic people. So if you're going to come to me with some mess, I'm going to tell you, first of all, I don't want to be involved in that. That has nothing to do with me. So find yourself in a place that you mature in your mind, that you're always not gravitating toward gossip and drama. So sometimes there's a discontent on the inside of you. So you gravitate to the wrong thing, and you find yourself asking, how did I get here? So number two, are you experiencing inner turmoil, restlessness, or discontent? Despite external successes or achievements, can indicate a disconnect between your spiritual values and your current state of being. You need to assess your spiritual values. Now, I know there's a lot of stuff out here on social media. People are talking about deconstructing the gospel, and we're talking about the word of God is not relevant. It's a lot of stuff I hear. But what I tell people all the time, you find the word of God and ask the Lord to help you tailor it to your life. Don't get caught up on all this other stuff that's going on here. It's a lot of stuff, and you'll get confused and get all twisted up. People talking about this consciousness and all this kind of stuff. Don't get caught up in that. You know what you was taught in Sunday school. What you was taught in vacation Bible school. What was you taught? We were taught John 3:16. We were taught Psalms 23. It's those basic principles that we've gotten away from that causes us to be discontented with our spiritual values, because we have now gravitated to other perspectives and other views. Number 3, have you found yourself spiritual dry? Now, I know some of y'all might not be honest with yourself, but some of y'all just dry. I mean, you just stagnant, and you seem to appear that you're okay where you are. But whenever you find yourself in a dry, stagnant place, spiritually, you're uninspired. Your prayer life is just nowhere. You lack the ability to meditate. You have no spiritual practices or discipline in your life. You seem ineffective and disconnected. That can be a sign that your spiritual growth is dry. I know you're saying, but Dr. Erika, I don't understand. I've done this and I've done that. So you're doing a lot of things, but have you asked the Lord to show you how to correct what you're doing? You know, when you're typing, there's an autocorrect on typing. It'll show you, is that word correct? Is that right? Is that the right where or word? Is it the right word you should be using in a sentence? And now they got things such as Grammarly that will correct your misspelled words, your incorrect grammar when you're typing. Sometimes you need to put your life on autocorrect. In other words, when you find yourself going down the wrong road, you need to autocorrect yourself. Don't allow somebody else to always correct you. Find yourself correcting yourself. Let me tell you something. You can't tell me that you don't find yourself going down the wrong path. We do. You can find yourself bobbing and weaving and say, I dodged this bullet this time. Next time, you might not be so lucky. You need to assess, is this the right thing for me? Number 4, struggles of beliefs and doubt. This is where it gets a lot of people. Do you have persistent doubts, uncertainties, and struggles with your beliefs? It's amazing to me how we can grow up, have a foundation of what salvation means, what does prayer mean, what does love mean? And when we get older, we start questioning, does God really love me? God, is this really the plan for my life? We took a spiritual gifts test a couple of years ago at our church. And one of the things that I found when doing the spiritual gift test, one of our members, it said that she was taking a vow of poverty. And she said, does that mean I'm going to be poor the rest of my life? I said, no. It means that you are content with living with just a standard way of living. It doesn't mean that you have to live a poor life. It just means that you've learned how to be content in certain areas. But I told her these words, but don't find yourself content in that same place forever. So we all go through seasons. I tell people this, we have seasons, reasons, and forever. There's seasons in your life that come and go. There are reasons why you got here. And then there are some forever things in your life that are there to stay. And I want you to make sure that God, am I in the right season? Am I discerning? Is this the place for me? Is this where I should be? God has graced me to go on many platforms to do a lot of things. I know a lot of people say, Dr. Erika, I don't see a lot of time when you post where you go, what you do. A lot of times I don't because I'm on assignment. If where I'm going, they do a flyer, that's great. If they don't, that's great as well. But I don't get caught up in the hype of I've got to see myself on a flyer every time I do something. Because what I've learned is that influence is not about you recognizing who I am. It's about what can I do to help you get to the next level. Influence is not me just speaking to you, but it's speaking into your life and helping you get to the right place. You see, spiritual growth, it's a lot of components. But whenever you find yourself in a place of not growing, Richard Foster, he defines discipline as this. Discipline refers to intentional practices, habits that individuals engage in to cultivate spiritual growth, character development, and a deeper connection with God. Let me say that again. Discipline refers to intentional practices, habits that individuals engage in to cultivate growth, character development, and a deeper connection with God. I need for you to look at those components of discipline. It's intentional practices. Are you intentional about your spiritual growth? Are there habits that you need to break? You need to engage and cultivate your growth. You need to have people around you that push you to grow, that push you to your next level. Yeah, I have, it's 3 of us, a total of 4 makes me, that we hold each other accountable. And we all don't live in Greensboro. And the one thing that I realized is that we don't have a problem with telling each other when we're wrong. But we also push each other when we see them growing in an area. You need people in your life that you can trust. You need people in your life that can hold your business. You need people in your life that can tell you, listen, sis, listen, bro, I see you doing this, but I don't think that's the right thing. You need people in your life that can tell you that's not the right. You don't need to be connected with that, because I see that being an area that you can possibly fall off. These are the kind of people you need in your life. There are practices that we need to develop in our life that will make us much richer in our spiritual growth. So I want you to recognize, do I have areas in my life where I lack purpose? Is there inner turmoil and discontent? Am I practicing some of the areas of my life that I'm dry and stagnant? And do I struggle with my belief system? And is there doubt? Those are questions that you need to be asking yourself. And over the next couple of weeks, we're going to unpack those spiritual practices of growth through the book by Richard Foster, Celebration of Discipline. Get this book. It's an amazing book. But we're going to walk you through, are you growing? Because I want to see you grow. I want to see you develop. I want to see you get to a place that you understand that growth is something I really need in my life. I realize that when you're not growing, you're standing still. And nobody wants to stand still. We want to see ourselves grow. So I believe that in this space of the month of April, I believe that God is going to have us to pour into each other. Notice what I said. I'm not coming to this platform to have all the answers, but I believe we're going to grow together. April is going to be the month of growth and the month of development. Because I believe, and I prophesied this morning, that you're going to see the hand of God in your life because you're making an effort to grow. When you put your hand to grow, God's going to put his hand on your life, and you're going to see growth in many areas of your life. I believe that. I hope you believe that with me. Growth is an area that we all need. So this morning, my prayer for you is that you grow. And for the month of April, we're going to grow together. So get the book, Celebration of Discipline by Richard Foster, and let's dive into this book. So next week, we're going to talk about prayer and meditation. Prayer and meditation. I know some of you probably said, but as a Christian, we don't meditate. I'm going to show you in the Word of God. But meditation is not just for those that do yoga. But God put meditation in the Word of God, that we're to meditate on his word. And I believe that God's going to do it. And where is he going to do it? He's going to do it with us together. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of Freedom Friday. I pray today, as we start this new series on spiritual growth, are you growing? And if you can invite someone, tag someone to join us every Friday for the month of April at 7:30 a.m. as we delve into this topic, are you growing? As we celebrate the life of spiritual discipline. You know my spiel every week. If no one's told you, let me be the first to tell you I love you. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Live life and live life on purpose. Have an amazing Friday. I'll see you again next Friday at 7:30. Have a great day.